in my bag, intact, don't slack. Fill in the gap, it's a rap, no cap. Might stay dash just to chase they cash.
Welcome back to another day in the old jazz era. I'm your host of the most boast, Taylor Elajas. You doing good? I'll do pretty good, but are you doing good though? I'll do pretty good. So today, we're at the inaugural episode of the Filling the Gap podcast. This will be a weekly thing. And, you know, I've been talking this whole time about how podcasting is going to take over radio and it's going to be the new norm. And I've always said for quite some time that once podcasting becomes as accessible in a car as the radio is, it's going to take over radio. Things like streaming and playlisting, all these next generation things, once they find their way into everything that radio is currently in right now and all those spaces, podcasting, streaming is already, we see what's happening with streaming, but podcasting and playlisting are going to take over radio in, I want to say, within the next 5-6 years, if it is that accelerated, but I think it will happen. But I can't talk all that mess and not make my own podcast. So here we are, the Filling the Gap podcast, and you know, it feels really good to start this, you know, because my Instagram and my YouTube, I definitely already share my opinion, but you know, it's in shorter form and I'm not really, you know, really getting all the thoughts out, you feel me? But with this podcast, I'm really going to talk my mess, you know, because really, I talk to myself every day. I'm not afraid to say that. I talk to myself every day. And, you know, some of the things that I talk to myself about, I feel like should be shared. You know, like I'd be dropping a lot of gems on myself, but, you know, why not drop the gems with you guys and spread it, you know, my little wolf pack. That's what I like to call you guys. In case you don't know, I like to call my supporters the wolf pack. So what's up, wolf pack? How you guys doing? I'm doing pretty good. So today we have a few topics that we're going to get into, and we're just going to keep branching off from those topics into other topics, you know, because this is basically me talking to you, but currently I'm talking to myself. But I do this on a daily basis anyway, so we're going to see what comes off of it. So our first topic is who has the most substantial cosign in hip-hop. Now, last few years, I would say Kanye and Drake's cosign were probably the most powerful and substantial in hip-hop, especially last year. You know, we saw what happened with Block Boy because of Drake. Lil Baby was already a little popping, but, you know, we saw what happened with Yes Indeed. You know, we saw what happened when he hopped on the Hispanic track. Like, whatever Drake is on turns to gold, you know, and now we're already seeing with Girls Need Love featuring Drake with the original song being by Summer Walker, that Drake has definitely just so much influence on being able to shoot up somebody's career. You know, we saw what happened with Shiggy. Shiggy did some dancing to In My Feelings, and Shiggy's in a whole different space of his career now. But we're going to bring up some numbers of what Drake has done for these artists. And, you know, I would say that Drake's cosign was the most substantial in maybe all of music, but hip-hop, especially in 2018 with Yes Indeed, that got 325 million plays on Spotify. Goodness gracious. Girls Need Love. Actually, I don't have the numbers for Block Boy, but the shoot dance was also something that took over all of 2018. So he definitely also gave that a much bigger push just because of the fact he was on that song. Maybe Shoot doesn't become what it has become without Drake on that record. He might have just made a dance that no one would have saw if Drake was not on that record, or not like a powerful artist wasn't featured on that record. So we have Yes Indeed, that's 2018. And 2019, we have Girls Need Love remix. Okay? Girls Need Love remix that got 3 mil on YouTube and 7 mil on Spotify, 7 million plays. But also going back to 2018, even though the video dropped in 2019, Meek Mill's album came out in 2018. So that also definitely shows that Drake's cosign was just phenomenal in 2018 because even though Meek Mill is up there, Drake's influence on that record definitely shot it up even more, and that has 232 million plays on Spotify. And Kanye's influence definitely was a lot too in 2018. We saw that. Also, I think that Kanye's cosign has been very powerful over the years. We saw what happened with Chief Keef's I Don't Like. You saw what happened with the Panda remix. You know, he shot up those people's careers. Chief Keef was already hot, but then, you know, you add Kanye on that, and it's like, wow. You feel me? It goes outside of Chicago and to the world. But in 2018, Kanye had Love It with Lil Pump, 335 million. Once again, Lil Pump was already popular, but now you give him another massive banger to his discography that he can probably play for the rest of his life simply because Kanye is on that song. And Mixed Personalities, YNW Melly, Free Melly, 32 million plays on Spotify, and that's also going up on their YouTube. Lyrical Lemonade, it's definitely spazzing on there as well. And he also got on a track with 6ix9ine, Kanga, 29 million plays on Spotify. 6ix9ine was already popping, but then you give him the Kanye feature, it's also going to work well for him. Now, my prediction of who's going to have the most substantial cosign in hip-hop in 2019, I'm going to give it to Cardi B. I'm going to give it to Cardi B because what she's done so far in 2019 with her cosign has been phenomenal. We have Twerk, City Girls, 35 mil Spotify plays, 59 million YouTube views. And if we want to at least take one from the 2018, we have Backing It Up, which she was featured on, that has 43 million Spotify plays, 95 million views on YouTube. And now going back to 2019, we have Bust Down Tatiana, with her very just explicit verse, 9.9 million on Spotify, 38 million on Lyrical Lemonade's YouTube. So I think that Cardi B will have the most substantial cosign in hip hop in 2019. And I definitely see much more to come from her because I don't see her dropping an album till summer or, you know, fourth quarter is when I see her dropping an album. So she's going to just keep her name out there. Features right now, she has a song out with Bruno Mars, and she's featured on Offset's album. So her name is still out there, but I don't see her dropping a full project for a little while. So in order to keep her name out there, she's going to be doing features. And I think that is two people, up and coming artists with Blueface and City Girls. They're up and coming, and she just allowed those songs to spaz, just absolutely spaz. And they're in her wheelhouse of, and so's Backing It Up, just, you know, ratchet. I'm gonna drop this ratchet verse on your head top, and you gonna bump it, you gonna like it, you know. So, but that's my prediction of who is going to have the most substantial cosign in hip hop, because cosigns definitely mean a lot. You can have a fire song, but, you know, if you're not popping enough, it might not go nowhere. You know, it might not go nowhere. And what I won't knock Cardi B on is that she's actually providing value to these songs, whereas, you know, Drake definitely provides value, but I feel like sometimes he'll just come on, take that person's flow, and make it hot, rather than, you know, Cardi's gonna come in doing Cardi. But, you know, Drake is a mastermind of just, I'm gonna take your flow and, you know, I'm gonna add it to my bag. And that's why I think Drake can be as popular as he wants to for as long as he wants to, because he has an innate ability to just take someone else's flow, take someone else's style, and make it his, and make it work and do it really well. So, you know, whether or not you see that as good or bad, you know, who knows. But next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about underrated rappers. So my underrated rappers right now, top of my list is Casanova. You know, punch you in your face, I'm gonna knock your teeth out. You know, every time I come through, I got my heat out. If you want smoke, ain't nothing we gotta speak. Like, I gotta chill before I sing the whole song right now. You know, see you with the red flags on, what that beat about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was about to go in. But Casanova to me is one of the top underrated rappers right now. He has EP out, Free at Last. You know, Young Thug actually called him the new Jay-Z. I don't know about all that, but you know, Big Thugger, you know, he can say what he wants, I guess, but don't really know about all that. But Casanova is an underrated rapper to me. You know, maybe he's just too menacing. Maybe people don't give him as much credit because, you know, but I don't think he's really doing all the things that he raps about in his lyrics. Maybe he's just too aggressive, but I think that his sound and music is just, the first time I heard him with Don't Run, oh my gosh, Don't Run is a lit song. Like, that just gets me hype. You know what I'm saying? Where you going? Come on, son. I advise you to listen to Don't Run if you like aggressive rap. It just, that song gets me hype every time I hear it. But he's my number one underrated rapper right now. Second, we have Big Boss. If you have not listened to Milky Way by Boss, please go bump that album. It is amazing. Just, I love it. I definitely love that album by Boss. Bossy, off Dreamville, that's one of J. Cole's proteges. Please go listen to that album. And Boss has a classic under his belt, in my opinion. I think that album is going to age very, very well. I don't think it matters whenever you listen to that album. His album before this one, Too High to Riot. I'm too high to riot. Yes, I'm too high to riot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that album is amazing. Bossy in the City, Baby Now We on the Road. Like, I can literally sing and rap 90% of the songs on that album. It's amazing. Like, I definitely advise you to listen to Too High to Riot. Classic, in my opinion. It's definitely gonna need more time to age before I would even consider making a video on it, because I actually do album reviews, and is a certain album a classic. I've done it with Good Kid, Mad City, Section 80, both by Kendrick Lamar, and I recently did it to Views. You can also check all those out on my Instagram at Taylor Elajas. But, you know, we really need to start appreciating Bossy more, because, you know, he is a just fantastic artist, and I don't think he's getting the credit that he truly deserves. But after Boss, I have Callboy. And Callboy, yes, he's new, but I think he's already underrated, because he has a lot of songs out that people are not even listening to, because all they know is Envy Me. And, you know, I don't blame him. He was definitely a unknown artist before Envy Me came out and it became a slap. And even though the song's only like 2 minutes, if that, the song just slaps. It slaps. But Callboy definitely deserves more shine, and I'm going to tell you a couple songs you can go and listen to go become more well versed in Callboy. You know, you can hit up Cuckoo, House of Cards, Melody, and My Mama off Callboy the Wild Boy. Fire. That's a fire album, honestly. I think he's already underrated, because no one listens to any of his songs outside of Envy Me. Like, I haven't heard anybody else talk about the fact that his music actually slaps outside of Envy Me. And I don't want him to be considered a one-hit wonder, because he actually makes good music. You know, I actually had him on I believe it was third on my first rookie ladder that I put out probably like a few weeks ago, on my first hip hop rookie of the year ladder. Right now I still have Blueface and Melly as my 1 and 2, Blueface being number 1. The third and fourth kind of keep switching around. Right now I have Coi Leray as my third. I think Coi has been hitting, and a lot of things I put into consideration with the hip hop rookie of the year rankings is that, you know, who they've been touring with, the interviews they've been getting, are they signed, are they not signed, how are they putting themselves out there, you know, how often are they dropping music, do they have a project out, how well is the project doing, you know, do they have a fan base, do they have a loyal fan base that's actually, you know, rocking with them, and they have truly loyal support, like, things like IG Live may even be able to take that into account, where it's like, if you go on live, how many people do you actually have in that live engaging with you? 'Cause a lot of times these artists don't even talk to the people that they're on live with. They just go on live and just look at the screen. And I feel like they want you to believe that they're not seeing your comments, but like, they're just looking at the screen. They're just choosing not to answer it. You know what I'm saying? But how many people do you really have in there? Like, if you're on live for like 30 minutes and only 200 people came in your live and you have 1 million followers, like, that's not nothing. You don't have a loyal fan base. Like, you don't have a loyal fan base. But I definitely think Callboy's underrated. I need a whole project 2019 before I can put him back on the hip hop rookie ladder, but I think he is underrated. But a little transition though, since we started talking about Coi Leray, I want to get into my favorite up and coming artist right now. And with this podcast, we may not discuss hip hop so deeply all the time. We may get into some entertainment things, but wasn't really much going on in entertainment up to this point, outside of Kanye not being able to retire, apparently. Kanye's probably not going to be able to retire ever. He's saying that there was a limit on his contract to where he would have to continuously put out music for 7 years, and that was back in 2010. But the record label and the publishing company, rather, they signed with, like, nah, you got to put out music forever. Forever and ever. It has to be one of your primary sources of income. But Kanye, is in the battle right now for that. But Kanye, to me, well, I guess we're gonna get into it since I'm already talking about it. Kanye, to me, is a person that can never be canceled. Outside of his whole publishing thing he's going through, the man dropped a clip of him, and I believe in Africa, playing like 6 chords on a piano, and the world went crazy. We live in such a fickle world, and it confuses me. Like, we live in such a fickle world. People act like they care, and they don't care. Like, no one cares. And I need us to actually stop acting like we care, because we don't care. Like, Kanye was doing all that, and, on his old free thinking wave, everything with Trump. There are some people that are still saying, hey, I didn't forget that you said slavery was a choice. I didn't forget it. But, we didn't forget that you were chilling with Trump. But people act like they care. They're going to cancel somebody. The cancel culture makes things not cancelable. Because when you cancel things so fast and you're so quick to cancel them, it takes away the validity of the fact that you're canceling it. Like, it's just not, you're taking away the strength away from the canceling. Like, T.I. put a limit, he put a 3-month limit on the Gucci canceling. That, to me, already takes away the fact that you're canceling Gucci. If you're just going to put a time limit on it, if it's canceled, it's canceled. If it's canceled, it's canceled. That's why I don't put that much importance into when people say that somebody's canceled, because they might be publicly canceling somebody for a small period of time, but outside of the public, they're probably still supporting that person. So that's why, to me, the whole cancel culture is, because Kanye was supposed to be canceled. The man puts out a clip of him playing like 3 to 4 chords on a piano, and the world goes wild. Like, I wasn't impressed. I'm sorry. I was not impressed by that clip, but that clip was everywhere. And people were like, yo, I didn't know I needed to see this on my Sunday. Like, come on, son. Where was all this energy? Oh, Kanye canceled. This was really only like 4 or 5 months ago. And now the world is just, maybe not the world, there are still people that are on the same wave they were on before, to where it's like, I'm not messing with Kanye, you know what I'm saying? But to me, I'm a person that can separate the music from the actual individual. Maybe not a lot of people can do that. But to me, I like music and the creation. I'm a creative person. I'm a content creator. That's not what I consider myself, but I create content. Like, I actually, I go through every process of the production, the editing, the distribution, the post-production. I do all that myself, so I understand that and what goes into making things like a song or a video. Like, I understand all those things. So I appreciate the art for the art, you know. I appreciate the art for the art, but you can be a terrible person. And I don't like you as a person. I don't have to like you as a person. But the creation, to me, I separate the creation from that individual, because that individual did everything in that art form, in that art, you know. So, but, you know, I also am able to do this on a case-by-case basis. You know, everything is not one way or the other. And I like to tell people all the time that the world is not black and white. Even if you try to make it seem black and white, it's not black and white. Like, it's not. People try to make it seem like, oh, the world is this or is that. Like, no, we literally live in between. Like, if the world was black and white, everyone would literally be black and white. No. There's so much in between that it's just impossible for you to just say the world is one thing or the other. Like somebody like R. Kelly, you know, where he's involved with Aaliyah and has a hand in production of Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. That's dirty. Like, I can't even listen to Age Ain't Nothing But a Number the same. I can't. Like, that's just a dirty song at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, case by case basis. But if we're gonna cancel people, cancel them. Like, don't keep going back. Or don't cancel them. It's okay. We don't have to cancel everybody. Like, we don't have to cancel everybody. And now Kanye, he can say slavery is a choice, but he can believe that if that's what he wants to believe, because he's on some free thinking. He can be a free thinker if he wants to be a free thinker. Why does it have to affect your life? Like, I wasn't quick to cancel Kanye on all that. I understand he has a large platform, but we also need to stop thinking that all these quote-unquote celebrities have to be mightier than life all the time. They're regular people that can say regular stupid stuff like anybody can say regular stupid stuff. And if Kanye truly believes that, then that's Kanye. He wants to believe that. But you don't have to think that, you know, he's a terrible person or you have to cancel him because that's his opinion. You don't have to share that same opinion. You really don't. Like, these celebrities, quote unquote, 'cause I don't even like to use the word celebrities, they're regular people that can say and think stupidness like they want to. You know, like, I'm not taking that away from him. And I kind of understand what he meant, where it was like he was saying slavery is a choice because people choose to continue to harp on it and bring it into their current day life, where it may not affect them like that. But, you know, our ancestors had to endure it, so I'm gonna endure that pain as well today, you know. And, you know, I understand to where he maybe is attributing it to, you know, slavery is a mental choice where you mentally are slaves to whatever you're allowing your mind to be a slave to. You know, I understand where he was going with it, but it obviously came off hella offensive. But at the end of the day, who cares what this man thinks? He's freaking Kanye. Who cares what he thinks? He's another individual in this world. I don't care about how big his platform is. I don't care about how many songs he produced. He's an individual. You know what I'm saying? And he can make some fire music. That's really all I do with that. You know, like, I don't consider Kanye to be, I consider him to be a musical genius. That is it. You know, he has a line that I want to get framed one day, honestly. But he has a line that says, name one genius that ain't crazy. Like, there are a lot of creative geniuses that have things wrong with them. Like, just in the head, they're not all the way there. You know, they're just not all the way there in their head. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like, that's a majority of creators. Like, majority of creators, they're going to have some type of, like, imbalance with them. But everybody does that. I believe there's a statistic I read that 1 in every 5 people has some kind of mental disease. And it may not, and when you think mental disease, it doesn't have to be to the highest extent of that mental disease. Like, somebody, or kind of like disorder in some way, you know. Like, somebody can have OCD, but they don't have to have, like, type 3 OCD. They can have, like, type 1 OCD. You know, like, everyone doesn't have to have the things to the highest of power for them to have it, you know. But, and also, I believe a lot of what Kanye to be doing is very character-based. Like, he knows, he's a very smart man. He's a marketing genius as well. Like, I do believe he believes some of these things, but then, you know, he knows the timing to say certain things when he wants to say it, you know. And I think that's smart too. The timing when you say things, you know, he has a song about to drop, album about to drop, sneakers about to drop. So I'm gonna say this, even though I truly do believe it, but maybe I wouldn't have said it if I had nothing coming out. That's also what you gotta attribute to. Maybe you don't just attribute it to wholly he's just saying this to get album sales, or he's just saying this to get shoe sales. Maybe he really does believe this, but he's saying it at a certain time that's gonna benefit him. So that's how I really take that. But speaking with characters, we're going to get into this a little bit. We have character versus reality. Now, I made a YouTube video about this a little while ago to where 6ix9ine got too deep into his character to where it went into his real life, and he was unable to separate the two, you know. And if I were to give some advice to artists, I feel like nowadays we live in a character-driven world to where you have to have both. Like, you have to be able to keep up a certain personality and image to where people attract themselves to you, but you also have to make sure that your music is fire and you're not letting people only know you for this character, you know. Like, I feel like 6ix9ine did it very well. Like, his character and his music were both loved, you know, loved and hated, and I think that's always good. Like, you don't want people to love you. Like, I don't know why people hate haters, because haters literally make people more popular. Like, if you don't have any haters, you're not doing anything right. That's how I look at it. If people don't dislike you, because people really only dislike you because you're doing something good for yourself, and they want to see you back down to their level. You know, like, people love you until you get to a certain point, and then it's like, all right, you're doing way too well, I want to see you fail. That's just how it goes, and you have to just accept that, you know. And if you don't have any haters, you're really not doing anything right, and you can't be scared of haters, because the more they hate, they're gonna just push you even higher. Like, people always like to say they hate Lil Pump, but the man does triple-digit millions on YouTube videos in a short amount of time, so it doesn't make any sense. Like, people were saying, I believe he has like over 80 million on Be Like Me, the music video, and then people are like, oh, no one wants to be like you. Oh, it's just because Lil Wayne. Like, Lil Pump does numbers by himself. He didn't need Lil Wayne to do those numbers, and that's just a fact. That's just the fact of the matter. But, you know, the characters, you have to make sure that they intertwine with each other, intertwine with the music, so that people actually want to listen to the music, and they're not just obsessed with who you are as a character, and then not give a damn about your music, you know. And I think a couple people will really fall into this category. 2 being Designer. Well, 3. Designer, Boot Gang, and Kid Buu. I feel like their characters took over their whole lives to where no one really cared about their music like that anymore. You know, like, Kid Buu took the whole clone thing to another level, to where he had people interested in the clone thing. You know, it's an interesting concept to where, because I don't bash characters. Like, people like A Boogie say I never had to be a character, but he came up in a different time. A Boogie dropped a while ago to where, like, characters weren't necessary. If you just had fire music, then, you know, like, literally his album wasn't even available on Apple Music. Apple Music wasn't really even a big thing like that when he first dropped his first Artist, I believe it was. You know, like, songs were bumping. Like, he didn't need to be a character, you know. Nowadays, the music industry is so saturated that you need something to separate you, you know. So, and honestly, a lot of the top people in hip hop, they still have some kind of character to them. You know, like Cardi B, she's a ratchet girl. You know, like Drake, he went from being the, you know, yesterday when we were getting high, you know, the Marvin's Room guy, the light skin, like the basically the face of light skin scrutiny of your soft, to son is built like one of those like black bombs from Mario. Like, well, maybe that's a bad comparison, because that's really round. But anyway, Drake is Aki. Drake is Aki, and people consider him to be like a mob boss now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got Kanye scared off of an emoji. So that's still a character. A Boogie may not have a character, but he came up in a time where he didn't really need one. But I feel like in the saturation now, you need something to separate you from the rest. Like Blueface, he has a character, famous Crip. Well, honestly, I'm gonna definitely lay out right now why Blueface deserves way more respect than he's even given. Because right now, people really only love him for the whole Tatiana thing. But I want to roll out why Blueface is the hip hop rookie of the year right now. I think by like yards above everyone else, because he has like at least a good 5 notable songs that you can name off top. You know, he has Studio, famous, Studio, Respect My Crippin', Bleed It, Deadlokes Part 2, Tatiana. Like, that's 6 songs already. And he has a dance challenge with the Tatiana. He has everyone doing remixes to his Tatiana song. He had the Bleed It challenge. You know, he has so much. He has a Breakfast Club interview. He has so much already, and this has really been happening really fast for him. Like, to have a dance challenge, 2 dance challenges, a rap freestyle challenge, and multiple notable songs. Like, a lot of people by this time only have like one song to where you may think, oh, they're popular, but how do you do a whole set? Like, somebody, like, the people are gonna be able to jam to that one song, and then they're gonna be like, all right, I don't know the rest of the songs. I'm just gonna stand here and bump my head. If you go to a Blueface set, that man can actually play at least a good 30 minutes of music to where you're gonna know the songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, people won't get hyped to Bleed It. If he brings out the mop, people gonna get hype. You know what I'm saying? Respect My Crippin'. That was like, people won't get hyped to that. Deadlokes, people won't get hyped to that. You know, like, he has bangers that people can go to. So, but his character is working for him. I think you kind of need a character, but you just can't let it take over you. Like, I think, and I don't think Designer's character was ever good to begin with, because, you know, he's kind of like the loud guy that people thought was always mumbling, didn't really speak English, and they called him fake Future knockoff. You know what I'm saying? That was never gonna work. You know, like, if you're like a copycat and you're not doing better than the person you're imitating, it's just not going to work for you. You know, to me, I never really saw it. I never really saw him being a copycat Future, but I hear it when people say that. But I hear the difference between Future and Designer in the music. You know, I can hear it clearly, but I understand where people are coming from, though. You know, but if I were to give advice, make a character, but don't. Like, you have to understand that you're also not an actor. You're trying to be a rapper, so you have to always connect it to the music. Like, all the people that I named before have distinct characters, but their music is also fire, and you don't think of them first for the character. You know, like, it's definitely a hard balance, but once you balance it and you get it, you know, it's an easier thing to manage. You know, so, but I tried to get into this before, but now it's kind of a good transition to get into it. My favorite up-and-coming artist right now, Blueface is one of them. And before Bleed It and Tatiana was even hot, like, I was late to the party on Blueface. I was kind of upset about that. But I'm definitely more in tune now with, you know, who's on the up and ups. I'll talk to people sometimes, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this person's buzzing. Person's lit, and they'll be like, oh, I never heard that person. But to me, it seems like you should know about them because their music's buzzing. They'll get like millions of views, but people still won't know who they are. That also shows you how many people are really in this world, you know, because it's like, you could get like 15 mil on a song or on a music video on YouTube, and no one can know who you are in certain areas, you know. So it's like, wow, that just shows how many people are even listening to this type of music, or how many people are in this world, to where a lot of people heard the song, a lot of people saw the video, but then some people still don't know who you are. So, but my favorite up-and-coming artist right now, Annalie Choppa. He's 16, and one of the reasons why I just really love him is because he's smarter than people his age really are. He has a bigger head. He has a better head on his shoulder than a lot of people at his age typically are, because, you know, turned down $3 million from record label to sign a partnership with United Masters to be able to own his music at 16, and somebody offers you $3 million and you turn it down to be able to own your music. because you think you're gonna make more than that in your career, that's some stuff. And on the low, he has a dance challenge going on, Shot of Flow, and he has people doing the challenge. Like he has a few popular songs, No Hook, Shot of Flow 2, Shot of Flow, and Shot of Flow 2 have over 1 million views on it. He's doing numbers. He's 16, Memphis artist. He's 16, and he's doing numbers, and he's good at marketing, himself, good at marketing his brand, and to be 16 and to turn down 3 mil to be able to keep your music, that is smart, and I like his music. So he's one of my favorite upcoming artists. YNW Melly, oh my gosh, and I don't like the fact that people were pretending that they were listening to his music from before he got locked up, because that's just not facts. You know, when you go to jail, that puts you on a just different pedestal, and honestly, jail is bad, but if you're an artist, it makes you way more popular, which is kind of terrible, you know what I'm saying? But it makes people pay attention to you now, and they go listen to your music, you know? Like, boy, I had been on Murder on My Mind for months now, and he has another song called Mind on My Murder, which is from the perspective of the guy that got shot. It's from the perspective of the 10-year-old kid that's getting shot. So he has Murder on My Mind and Mind on My Murder. Like, oh my gosh, like that was just creative genius in my opinion. And like his sound is just so different. It just grabs you. It grabs your attention. I love it. I just love it. I love his sound, honestly. And I've been on him for a while. And I'm kind of upset that we may not get music from him for a while. I was okay on tehe. Like I like tehe, but I didn't bump him all the time. But now I understand how people feel that were really big tehe fans, that he may not be dropping music for quite some time. You know, like, it's like, damn, we just lost tehe. Like tehe was fire, but that's how I feel with YNW Melly. And he has another song called Slang That Iron, bro. You don't understand how many times I listened to that song. It's had to be going on 100 now. Like, I love that song. Oh my gosh. Like, Blue Balenciagas, Butter Pecan, like, I love YNW Melly. If he was out right now, he would be competing with Blueface for Hip Hop Rookie of the Year. And I definitely mean that. So next up we have Roddy Ricch. That's definitely one of my favorite upcoming artists. Feed the Streets 1, Feed the Streets 2. Yo, Feed the Streets 2 deserves way more recognition than it's getting right now. Way more. Like, I think that was one of the best albums of 2018, and people did not talk about it enough. You had Scott Storch on there. Just beats were fire. Like, oh my gosh. Every season, Down Below right now has over 2 mil on YouTube. You know, he was just featured on a track with Nipsey. He was on Meek's album. He's been with Meek for a while. Like, he's been known Meek. And, you know, Meek's helping him get some recognition. I love Roddy. Like, Roddy's up there for real. You know? So. And next up, we have Coi Leray. I love Coi Leray. Oh my gosh, I love Coi Leray. For real. Like, she raps about bisexual topics. And, like, I've literally never heard a female rapper do that, you know, and be so successful at it. Like, I think she etches her own lane for herself, and to be able to etch her own lane is definitely important. Her EP that recently came out is called EC2, bangers. Like, I honestly haven't bumped it in like a week or so, just because I abused it for a little bit. Like, I listened to it so much that I couldn't listen to it that much anymore. But it's a great album. It has Trippy on it. And before that, her other album that she has out, amazing. I love it. She has some bangers that you should go listen to. Life Goes On, Huddy. I'm going to tell you the name of the album that came out before EC2. It's called Everything Coast. And she is my third on my Rookie of the Year ladder right now, because she has a very strong fan base. Like, the Everything Cozy fan base is strong. Like, it's definitely strong. She has a very passionate fan base, and she's just got off tour with Trippy. You know, she has some good backings. She's been doing a whole lot of interviews. You know, she has personality to her. She's actually Ben Zeno's daughter, which is something I did not know until recently. So that's pretty cool too. But, you know, I love me some Coi Leray. Like, Huddy Did It, Life Goes On. Like, she's fire. She's definitely fire. So, And lastly, for my favorite up-and-coming artists right now, and this also changes a lot, or just not changes, but artists get added to the list a lot, because I listen to a lot of music, but I listen to a lot of up-and-coming artist music because I want to put a platform for up-and-coming artists. You know, obviously we're gonna have to talk about the super mainstream artists, but you know, everyone's talking about the super mainstream artists, but I feel like the more up-and-coming artists, with, you know, the artists that really only have like 300,000, 100,000, 200,000, like, they don't get talked about enough, but they're fire. You know, like, they're gonna be the next sound. They're gonna be the next up. You know, give them like 2-3 more years, they're gonna be next up. And like, you know, mainstream artists have to retire at some point, or have to stop making music at some point, and then, you know, you're gonna be late to the party. And I don't like being late to the party. I know a lot of people don't care about being late to the party, but I don't like being late to the party. So that's why I like to educate myself on the up-and-coming artists while they're still up-and-coming. But lastly, we have Quinn NFN. Now, he is fire. He has a gritty sound, and he gonna have one of them sounds to where he get on a track and you know it's him. And I love that. Like, you have to have a sound to where I know that's you. You know, so he has a single out right now called Straight Through, fire. He has a song that came out in 2018 that got a little buzz going. It's called Talking My Ish, fire. Go check that out. Go check all these songs out. But yeah, man, Quinn NFN, I'm be digging the music, and hope you guys go check out all those artists. And that's gonna do it for this first episode of Filling the Gap. This will be a weekly thing, so expect more. Expect more from the Filling the Gap podcast. I have some You Doing Good wristbands coming out soon, so, you know, stay tuned for that. It's gonna be great. Guys, let me know if you want one. I will give you one, and it's gonna be real good. So I appreciate my wolf pack for rocking with me, and we gonna keep going up. We gonna keep going forward, and it's gonna be a great 2019. So I'm Elajas, and you were listening to Fill in the Gap.
My people tell me that I'm good for this. The other ones just think I'm hood for this. But really, I've been busy with filling the gap with the feeling of being really the most. So tell me, what is your life? I can tell you what life's like. Shine bright, set a soul in your head.